Okay, I'm here with Dr. Douglas Mills to film part 2 of how the body works at work, and this one we're going to actually use a water-fed pole and talk about what?
Body mechanics. Using a linear hand tool above your shoulders like this, we'll see how the limbs and the joints wind up during the various movements, the various operating movements.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so there's 2 stages to water-fed window cleaning traditionally. There's agitate and then there's rinse. So I'm going to do all the agitation movements first, and then for the guys that rinse off the glass, then I'm going to sort of mimic those so that you can see what we normally do. And then we might have one for those really awkward windows where we go looking around for some awkward ones so that you can see the other stresses that we have to endure in order to reach windows that are not actually in a linear sense, like in line with the operator, you know.
I see. Let's do it.
How's that? Good.
Good.
All right, so. If we start with the 2-story work, because I've got a 2-story pole, Reach It Mini, and it's 100% carbon fiber, so it's a rigid pole, and we've done some work together on rigid versus floppy poles. So the first thing we'll do is talk about using a rigid pole at 2 stories, and then we'll do ground floor and see what changes, and then we'll go to rinse. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
So normally, if I was cleaning these windows, and because it's a little window, then you'll see this kind of action here. Yeah.
Right.
So up and down.
Right.
And then I'd want to get the frame, so I'd want to do that.
Okay.
There,
Now.
and then I'd come down and do the bottom frame like that.
Okay. So you're doing these motions repetitively, hundreds of times,
Yep.
as you walk around the building, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, go ahead and get the posture first, and just freeze on the backstroke, right there.
Yeah.
Your body's twisted, your left knee is locked, your arm is adducted, move to the midline, and the wrist is fairly neutral right now. But if you had a longer window, if you would drop this hand even another foot, this hand would be flexed toward the radius
So
too
we'll
much.
show you that on a long stroke, because
Right.
this is a short stroke, and a lot of guys have got little windows,
Yeah.
short strokes. That's their working motion. You know, they're not using
Right.
the legs.
Now on the upward stroke, the arm being extended away from the body like that and adducted is very stressful on the shoulder. The closer you keep your limbs to your body, the stronger you are. It's moved to the midline again, which puts stress on the rotator cuff. The wrist is hyperflexed. The hand is hyperflexed toward the ulna here, which is going to cause a problem here in a repetitive motion setting. It possibly cause wrist pain. That looks like a very awkward position.
In this case, because I'm reaching high and I don't have much pole below me, but that quite often happens where you just got to reach up.
Yeah. Then
the bristles won't be solid on the glass, so then we'll flex the pole like this.
Right.
So you'll see me. I'm actually pulling that.
Yeah.
Like
that's a lot of stress on your shoulder and your left wrist.
Yeah, I can feel it both in that shoulder and that shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it was a long stroke, and I'm going to come across onto the concrete, then it's a long stroke, then I would go like
okay,
this.
that's a different set of body mechanics you're using. Okay, stop on the downstroke. Stop right there. This is very damaging to the wrist. This position is an almost guaranteed repetitive motion injury. The wrist is completely out of its neutral position. You're holding it with 3 fingers, and it's causing your wrist to be severely hyperflexed toward.
I have to let go of it.
Yes.
That's
how you have to.
I'm actually just letting go.
Yeah, you're gripping with 2 fingers or 3 fingers, and the hand is hyperflexed toward the radius here, and that's going to cause some damage here. It's just almost inevitable if you do this repetitively.
Right.
Yeah, that would be the problem.
That's the stroke, yeah.
Yeah, and do the upstroke and hold it. Okay, again, you have a deviation towards the ulna here, towards the little finger side of the hand. It's not neutral. Neutral would be, of course, here, but you can't do that. You'd just be holding with your little fingers. So you have to have some kind of grip on that, bucket handle grip. The hand is fully extended. The shoulder is rotated. The humerus is pulled to the midline. This is not a very good position to affect a power stroke.
Right.
And that's what you're doing with each of these.
But there's no choice.
There's no choice, and the reason there's no choice is because this is a linear tool,
right,
and you have to line your hands up.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, you can't
so this is,
do otherwise.
This has to come across.
Yeah,
There's
it
no
has
way
to.
do that.
This has to be in a straight line.
Yeah.
In this, it's forced to be in a straight line.
And because I've got a downstroke, I have to run it. I have to twist my body.
Right.
In order for the downstroke to go past me, otherwise I'd be doing it into
now
myself.
this would probably be okay for an hour, but even after an hour, someone who's not used to this, it'd beat them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're used to it, so we're cool.
So you're cool. Okay. I can comment on the knee also here. The knee is rotated, and he's pushing off with his foot at an angle. That could possibly cause a meniscal problem.
Or upset one that somebody may
or
have
upset
from some
one,
other
yeah.
thing. If they've already got a sports injury or something, isn't it?
Right, exactly.
Because quite often, it's not necessarily, when we talk about working with water-fed poles and having injuries, the injury doesn't have to be actually caused by the water-fed pole. It can be aggravated by a water-fed pole.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So little things where you say, well, I could do that all day long if I've got no other injury, but then the next guy comes along and he's got an injury.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
Then,
and it's possible, even with no injury, if you have a repetitive motion like that all day long, 5 days a week or whatever, you will wind up with a knee problem.
Well, we know, like we've already got the preliminary results in from the working with injury survey, for window cleaners, and the age of the guys reporting in with injuries is interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is. They're all over 40. Not all, but many are over.
The great
the majority are over 40.
Yeah. So you go, okay, like it's likely to happen.
Right.
So the young buck who says it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah. Just wait.
We may have proof that it will. Traditional poles stay together, so all the sections will stay together, and so I'm doing this at this point with the Mini, but I'll show you what also we do is we can take it apart and make it lighter and smaller and whatever. So if it was a traditional pole, then it would be kept together, and then the guy would, I'd probably go like this actually. Right. Or I like full length strokes myself. I get in a bit of a routine, and then we didn't cover before, Doug, this one, when we start cleaning the frames, yeah?
Right, the lateral motion, yeah.
We'll do that, yeah? And you'll see me, I always, I don't know if everybody does it, but I lock the pole in there as a point,
right,
against me
this can cause a lot of different problems. One thing you are doing, though, is you're taking the power movement to the center of your body, which is good.
Right. And
which is what you almost have to do to manipulate the pole.
Yeah.
But you're still twisting your body. It's still an awkward movement.
It's awkward movement.
Yeah.
You've got no choice on it. So
you have no choice on that one.
Just to
get
that to scrub.
That side-to-side movement. It definitely puts a stress on that upper hand shoulder there.
Right. So that's when we do the frames, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, so what we do, for example, just so you can say, that's common sense, is that we'll take these sections off and be left with a lighter, smaller pole just for that low work, right. And get into there. And now you can see I can just, it's a little bit easier, to get that scrubbing motion.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing more to be said. I mean, it's the same postural problems.
But a slightly lighter pole.
But a slightly lighter pole, yeah.
So, in a sense, we use less effort to affect the work.
I think it's the nature of the beast here that you have to get into awkward postures to operate this tool.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the beast. It's a linear tool, and you have to affect a certain movement up top.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is you go through all kinds of contortions at the bottom.
Yeah, and what we're doing here is we're demonstrating on a commercial building, but actually when you get a house, there's all sorts of things, like we'll have to, get over here to this window and clean that like that.
You're really hanging what little weight there is. You're really hanging it off your body. It's a fulcrum.
This is really typical, actually, this one here, cleaning that. Now, we've got swivel brushes coming out.
Can you feel that in your back right here?
Yeah.
Right here, right?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. So we go like that, and scrub that up. If you do it all day, every day, you just don't really notice that it's stressing you, but
just toughen up.
It is stressing you.
Yeah, it is eventually.
For sure. So there is actually a lot of off-center, and so a lot of guys now for the low work, when it's off-center and low, are starting to use swivel brushes, so that the brush stays the way they want. You can twist the pole and the brush stays flat, but you're still this is rock hard right now. The rotator cuff.
Absolutely, your arm is almost fully extended.
Yeah. But that's where I like making it lighter. At least you're not running a lever that's heavier.
An optimum way to translate the movements you're making down here into controlled power movements up there is to have a perfectly stiff, weightless pole.
Right.
But you can't have that, but you can approach it possibly.
Yeah, to make it as light as possible.
As light as you can and as stiff as possible.
And as stiff as possible.
Right.
And why?
It just translates the motion more efficiently up top.
Yeah, so what I do here gets done there.
Gets done there, yeah. With more efficiency.
Right. And the alternative, if you had a heavy,
flexible
pole?
The opposite of that would be a heavier, flexible pole.
Right.
It would be harder to control, it would be heavier, it would stress your joints more,
so
you'd be working more.
You're doing more work.
Much more work, yeah, if it was really floppy.
Right. Okay, so that's agitation. That's what we do. Agitate the dirt into the solution, into the water, and then we rinse it.